Hi, I'm Jim. I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. So I went fishing this morning, and I haven't been in a long time. Well, let me take that back. I haven't been freshwater fishing. And where I used to live was really close to a lake that I would walk to and wade, which if you don't know what that means you actually get in the water, right? You know, nice warm day, get somewhere around like waist deep and, you know, just vibe. And haven't done that in a while. And while I was fishing, I really just kind of thought about, you know, the two best ways to really be able to not just deal, but to grow from this disorder, right? So I have narcissistic personality disorder. If you do as well, it came from trauma, right? I mean, that's just how this works. You know, there's kind of no option B. It's not like your mind's sitting around one day, it's like, you know what, I'm bored. Let's give this dude a disorder and see what happens. Let's have some fun, right? Let's just play around with this guy. No, like something really intense, something really, really bad happened. For me, when I was really young, my brother and I were walking back from baseball practice, and he was hit by a car. So not only did I witness this, right, but my mind convinced me that he blames me for the accident. And my mind convinced me that everybody that I know that cares about and loves him blames me for the accident and not preventing the accident. So I have survivor's guilt. That survivor's guilt as a coping mechanism created my disorder. Okay? So you can imagine, I mean, that's just really deep, intense emotions. So for me and my path to wellness, my journey of emotional betterment. Love the way that sounds. So I do two things. First, I try to get the anger out, right? When you have narcissistic personality disorder, like I do, for me, it's kind of like a faucet, right? And you can't turn the faucet off. So what do? You go get a bucket, right? Water's just coming out of the faucet. But eventually that bucket fills up and it's gonna overflow, right? So we gotta make sure we empty that bucket. Hey, I'm hoping one day that faucet runs out and it just stops. But I can't plan on that. So what I do is I adapt, right? I can't turn the faucet off. So I just keep emptying the bucket and just hoping that one day there's nothing gonna come out of that faucet, right? That's my hope, that's my prayer. But till then, I'm emptying the bucket. And that's my anger. That's my emotion. So here's some of the things that I do. I like to jog, and it's a great release for emotion, right? But I go ahead and I talk to the driver of the car while I'm jogging. No, that's a lie. I'm sorry, I shouldn't lie. I yell at that person. I scream at like the top of my lungs. I mean loud, verbally, right? And I say things like, it was your fault. Nobody blames me. There's nothing I could have done. My brother won't walk again, and it's your fault. You took everything from my family. And I scream these things out loud. Over and over again while I'm running. And I think it's working. And the reason I think it's working is because when I first started doing it, I cried and cried and cried. And I gotta imagine, how funny it must be to see some old man with saggy man boobs running, crying and screaming at somebody that's not there jogging down the street. But I ain't changing it for the world, because like I said, I mean, it's so releasing, right? So when I do it now, I usually don't even cry, right? I mean, it's obvious. I mean, you know, this is getting the anger and this is getting out the emotion. Like, it's working. That's one of the things I do. I play racquetball. Now I don't yell at somebody that's not there while I'm playing with a partner, right? But you know, maybe I get there a little early, or I stick around like a little bit late, right? And I'm just hitting by myself. And you know, if you've ever done that, man, you start wailing on that ball. And yeah, and I start, letting that anger out on every swing, right? And I start, trying to get visuals, you know what I mean? To associate it with that trauma. These are a couple of things that I do. That doesn't mean that you have to do them, but if you don't have anything that you do to get the anger out, I mean, please research it. I mean, for me, this is huge. This is vital, right? You gotta find a way to get that anger out. Like look for ways, right? Whatever you do, try to find ways to incorporate it, right? Even if it's just hitting a pillow at home, just make sure you're associating that trauma with the physical activity, right? So the anger is coming out through it, right? So that helps to get the anger out. But I gotta have my zen, right? I gotta find that peace, that center. And for me, I do this a couple of ways. And man, it came back like like you wouldn't believe when I was out there fishing today. And like I said, it's been a couple of years since I've been out, wading in the water fishing. And there's if you know anything about fishing, I top water plug, right? And I usually like to get out there. I really like to get out there before sunrise. Today was not one of those. I didn't set the alarm. I got out there about a half an hour after sunrise, and water was a little cold, maybe about the knees, right? But I tell you, and I'm sure you're curious, right? I'm trying not to glory hound. I caught one. It was small, put it back. One better than none. But I mean, the water's calm. Breeze hitting you, birds chirping. I mean, it's bliss. It's zen. It is. And of course, what I try to do is I try to get a couple of deep breaths in, and I try to allow myself to just be calm and enjoy it. It's not zen if your mind's wandering about junk, right? For me, right? I mean, for me, that the mind's got to just be enjoying that moment. So a couple of the other things I do, and I play guitar, right? And I tell you, man, when you're hitting it right, and I'm not the greatest singer in the world, but when the pitch in your voice matches that pitch on that chord progression, like perfect, it's just, it's like a zone that you go into, and it's almost like an outer body experience, right? And I'm not kidding. It's almost like you're enjoying hearing yourself sing and play, like you're a spectator more than even like the person doing it. It's yeah. Takes me to zen. It's just finding that center, finding that level of peace, that level of calm, right? Here's a biggie. Love to hike. Love it. A big waterfall guy. So what I do is, in my bag of tricks, I always pack a hammock. So when I get to the waterfall, I find myself a couple nice trees. I set up the hammock, nibble on some lunch, and then I just vibe. And if you're not familiar with waterfalls, when the water hits the rocks, it of course goes into the air. So the air, and I'm not kidding, it can be 120 heat index, and I've hiked in well over 100 heat index, right? Where the weather's just beautiful at the waterfall. It is amazing. That water's in the air, the temperature's clear, right? It's perfect. You have trees, so the sun's not beating down on you, right? It's unlike anything you would imagine. And when you breathe in that air, you can taste that waterfall. Like, And I do some guided meditations, right? So when I'm laying there, I imagine myself as I'm breathing in, that the water's in the air and it's going into my body, and it's, you know, it's just relaxing everything. And if I'm lucky, I have a situation where I can get my hammock swaying. Oh man. Right? Then, the most important part, I turn my mind off. And I tell myself, hey, vibe, enjoy it. And that's it. That's it. That's Zen. That's it. Right? Hey. That's it. Now here's the thing. You gotta plan these things. They gotta be part of your life. They gotta be part of your wellness plan. They gotta be. Gotta be. Alright? You can't cut corners on these. I mean, this is what keeps us right. This is what gives us our balance. This is key. This is key. Especially getting that anger out. I mean, you got some deep stuff in there. Work with your therapist on it, right? Identify your trauma. Identify the associations. I'll share. So, here's the thing. For the better part of my life, I felt like I knew I had the survivor's guilt, and I felt like I had overcome it. But when I found out I had this disorder and went into therapy, I had no idea at all that I had other survivor's guilt. That I believed that friends and family, you know, most importantly, my mom, blamed me for the accident. I had no idea. How do you address something when you don't even know it exists? Right? I mean, yeah. So you gotta work with your therapist. You gotta make sure you're identifying the right things. Right? That's how you get in there. That's how you heal. Okay? You got this disorder because you're hurt. Right? You have this disorder because of your trauma, because of what happened to you. It has to be dealt with. It's got to be brought out. But like me, you might think you know. I thought I knew. I'll tell you honestly, I felt confident that I was over the survivor's guilt of my brother. I really did. Man, I wasn't even close. And I had no idea I had survivor's guilt, you know. And I say about everybody else, but I mean, most importantly, I mean, it was my mom. It is my mom, right? And that was the real big one. That was the real big one. I had no idea. I had no idea. So make sure you're working with the therapist. I mean, there could be stuff in there you don't even know about, and it ain't coming out if you don't address it, and you can't address it if you don't know about it, right? But yeah, it's big. This is as big as it gets, and it makes a difference. It does. It does. And like I said, I mean, don't feel like you have to take mine. Please find your own, right? Find your own. I don't know. That's just, you go out back, grab a stick and hit it against a tree. I don't know. Find yours though. Find your way to release the anger, and then find your Zen. Oh my God, please find your Zen. Man, yeah. If I could rap that, I'd give it to everybody in the world for a Christmas present. Man, when I feel Zen, man, that's it. That's it. Very important. Very, very important. When you're when you're finding things to release anger or find your Zen, you're not gonna like it. I recommend you do it by yourself. Here's why. When we incorporate others, everybody thinks, oh, but they motivate me. That's why I go. Well, that can work the opposite, you know. So, hey, I found a friend. We're going to work out together. We're going to work out every day. And you guys do. And they motivate you. One day you're like, man, I do not want to go to the gym. But I'm going to go because I'm going with my friend. But what happens when that friend stops going to the gym? Right? And if you're trying to get Zen and that person's there with you, It's really hard to shut your mind off. So I understand, like, there's meditation groups, you know what I mean? And when I talk about Zen, you know, it's very similar, like a form of meditation, right? But I'm gonna recommend, if you can, do it alone. If you can, that would be my recommendation. That's me. Like I told you, for me, like if I'm hitting the racquetball around and I'm bringing out that anger, that stops the second that my racquetball partner shows up. No, now you got real Jim. That was NPD Jim, right? Getting his stuff out. This is the This is, you can't, you ain't ready for that on the racquetball court. Me screaming at driver crazy stuff. My brother will never walk again, and it's your fault. Yeah, they might kick me out of the LA Fitness. Yeah. All right.